You're listening to The Straight Line on MRN.com, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices, every day. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ralph Shaheen here with you. My partner, Doug Herbert, is out flying around the country this week. It's his turn to be out of the studio, but that's okay. Unfortunately, Doug's not going to be able to call in this week, and we're going to just run the show ourselves and get you through an exciting episode this week of The Straight Line. Got some great guests coming our way as we put a button on the AAA Insurance NHRA Midwest Nationals that just wrapped up at Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway over there just across the river from downtown St. Louis. And it was a big weekend of racing over there, and there were some big, I guess, upsets in some categories, big wins in others, and it's going to shake up the points a little bit. So as we get through this first segment of the show, let's update you on how everything went at Gateway, just in case you missed some of the Fox coverage from over there. Steve Torrence and Billy Torrence, the father-son pairing in the finals for Top Fuel. And I think what's interesting that we learned with Billy Torrence, the father winning, there's obviously no team orders over there, right? As they came into the show in the finals, Steve had qualified fifth, Billy had qualified second. Steve actually had the better reaction time, but when you get to the far end of the racetrack, it's a 4.374 ET for Steve at just 195.93 miles an hour for Billy, a 3.835 at 319.67. So Dad puts him away and takes the win in Top Fuel. We'll get to the points on that in a little bit. Now let's go to Funny Car and talk a little bit about what happened there. Shawn Langdon puts away J.R. Todd off of the line. Well, first of all, coming in, almost even on the qualifying side. Shawn had qualified 10th. JR qualifies 8th. In the reaction time, pretty even there too. A .072 for Langdon, .077 for JR. They're pretty even leaving the starting line. At the far end, not so bad there. A 4.068 to a 4.276, but it was a mile an hour that made all the difference. 310.41 for Langdon, just 223.32 for J.R. Todd. On to Pro Stock now, and it's Erica Enders who takes the win. She was matched up against Matt Hartford in that category. And when it comes to reaction time, boy, Hartford was right on it. .003. Erica with a pretty good light at a .018. But Hartford, boy, he was strong. ET-wise, a 6.598 for Erica, 6.621 for Hartford in a great drag race at 208.36 for Erica, 207.30 for Matt Hartford. So that was a really interesting category at Gateway in Pro Stock. Pro Stock motorcycle, this was the big story right here. Andrew Hines, you figure that Harley juggernaut's just going to keep rolling. Nope. Karen Stoffer, her first win since 2015, and the first time in her career she beat the Harley squad. And she takes the win over there, Worldwide Technology Raceway. Her reaction time, a .022. Hines with a .024. Great for both of them out of the gate. 6.876 for Hines. 6.869 for Karen. Another great drag race. 196.59 miles an hour for Andrew Hines. 197.74 for Karen Stoffer. So she got him in every single category all the way down the quarter mile. She did exactly what she had to do. She executed it perfectly all the way down the strip, and Karen takes a really big win. So now let's talk a little bit about what that did into the standings. And we'll start with Top Fuel. Doug Coletta continues to lead. Steve Torrence is second. He is just 2 points behind. But Dad Billy now is in ninth in the point standings. He's 80 back. But again, no team orders. You could see, or Steve Torrance would be the new points leader this week as we start talking about Charlotte coming up and Z-Max Dragway. Over in Funny Car, Robert Height continues to lead there, 13 over John Force. Back behind them, J.R. Todd was in the finals. He's 53 back. Shawn Langdon now is 80 back in seventh with the win in St. Louis. And in Pro Stock, Erica Enders, second in the points now, and that win really helps her out. She's just 11 markers down to Jason Line. And the interesting one, Pro Stock Motorcycle. What does that big win do for Karen Stoffer? Well, it moves her right into second place, just 34 points down to Andrew Hines. So that is going to be in a really interesting category to watch, both of the Pro Stock categories, Pro Stock Bike, Pro Stock Motorcycle. Going to be a lot of interesting stuff to talk about and think about and watch as we head to Z-Max Dragway in Charlotte. Not this weekend, but next week. And it's going to be really interesting, too, because this week here in Charlotte, blazing heat. It is in the mid-90s here today. Now, this weekend is supposed to break a little bit and is supposed to start dropping down into the mid-70s. So we'll be really curious to see what kind of a racetrack we have when we get to Charlotte around the 13th of October, just a week or two from now. All right, some great guests, some big news coming your way, too, that we'll have for you in Red Light, Green Light. And it's all coming here on MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stay with us.
Welcome to the Speed Sport News Center. I'm Derek Prenesiglio.
Suzuki presents Speed Sport.
These are guys that you can take anywhere in the country and they can win on any given night.
Oh, what a great shot.
Prepare your vehicle for the weather ahead during Super Start Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Purchase a Super Start battery and get up to a $25 gift card after mail-in rebate. Plus great deals on jumper cables, battery chargers, and more. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It wasn't just built to be a museum. It was built to be a shrine to the history, heritage, and future of the sport we love. Visit the NASCAR Hall of Fame and see how Petty, Earnhardt, and hundreds of other NASCAR legends became heroes. Watch their most electrifying moments, experience realistic racing simulators, and much more. Plan a trip to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte. Tickets at NASCARHall.com. NASCAR Hall of Fame. This is our sport. This is our house.
Well, we are back with MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We got Shawn Langdon on the line, the winner in the funny car category over there at Worldwide Technology. Have you gotten used to saying that name, by the way, Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway?
I didn't even attempt to do that because it's too much of a tongue twister for me.
You don't do those brain development
Lewis.
games and stuff to try to get good at all that stuff?
I'll end up confusing myself so much I won't know what direction to sit in the race car.
Look out the front window, Shawn. That's the way to go. Tell me about your run there. It was a pretty good, solid weekend for you, I got to assume, all the way around?
Yeah, man, it was a great weekend, really. Everybody did such a great job. Coming out of Reading, we had just such a bad weekend in Reading, which is unfortunate being the first race of the countdown. Just we go out there and smoke tires twice on Friday and really kind of set us behind going into Saturday's qualifying show and end up losing first round out there. And, we started the countdown ninth. So, man, we really left Reading just kind of scratching our heads a little bit because we really had a lot better car than that. And so we left there and they kind of made an executive decision that they wanted the front half of our car and made a bunch of changes in clutch area and other areas in our car. And typically not something that you do second race into the countdown. Typically by then you're kind of set and you're really fine tuned in a lot of areas. And we just couldn't take a chance on wondering if Reading was a fluke or not. So we just really kind of made some wholesale changes, and fortunately, I mean, somehow it ended up working, man. We had a good car qualifying. It wasn't fast, but we were more just with all the changes we made, we were really set on more information than we were trying to blow people's doors off. We just wanted to make runs down the track and just gather up as much data and everything that we could. And so got a little behind qualified 10th, but we made it down every single run. So we gathered information from every run, and so for first round Sunday, we just kind of knew we had to get aggressive running Tommy Johnson Jr. first round. So we just really kind of got aggressive with the tune-up, and fortunately it stuck, and fortunately we were able to end up getting 4-round wins on Sunday in kind of a must-win scenario. We really left Reading saying we have to win St. Louis to have a chance at the championship.
Yeah, to go that dramatic and make that many big changes, did you have a plan, a direction of where you were going with those changes, or was it just kind of a let's wing it and see what we got when we fire this thing up in St. Louis?
Well, we really kind of had the mentality of once we left Reading was like, okay, we got to change something because this isn't going to work. We kind of look like dummies if we showed up to St. Louis and did the same thing all over again. Our sponsors wouldn't be happy with that. So we had to make some changes, and we just didn't know exactly what at that point of leaving Reading. So in the next kind of couple of days, everyone kind of put their heads together, and so we had the plan of getting all these changes done and then going to test out at Lucas Oil Raceway Park the Tuesday before St. Louis. And then just in the mix of trying to get everything done and I mean, you don't want to run your guys into the ground as well, because these guys are working their butts off on everything. So it was kind of a last-minute decision on Monday. We decided not to test on Tuesday right before with all these changes made. We just kind of said, okay, we'll just go out there and hit the gas for Q1 and we'll just see what it tells us and go from there. And, which is, I mean, Del and Nikki, Del Worsham, Nikki Bonifani, I got to give a lot of credit to them of just doing as much homework as possible. I mean, I talked to Del for quite a while on Monday, and, it's kind of like, are you sure about this? Like, are you sure we don't need to test? I mean, I had some issues the last time we front half the car, and it took me a few races to get it figured out. And I said, man, we really can't give up any races and let alone run, just, with front half of the car. And he's like, man, I feel pretty confident with the changes we're making. I feel confident with, just kind of your progression of driving. I feel, like you've gotten better. I feel like the direction we're going to go, we have some pretty concrete changes that we're going to make. He goes, I don't think we're going to have a problem. He goes, trust me, I think we're going to be fine. So I was like, okay. I mean, that's all I needed to hear as a driver. When your crew chief has that much confidence in the direction that he's wanting to go, I trusted the process, and glad I did.
Well, that's got to make for a sleepless Thursday night, right? Because even after you go testing everything, that's fine, but you haven't run the racetrack you're going to be competing on. So Thursday night, when you're waiting to see what you really got come Friday, you'll be a little nervous, I would think.
Yeah, well, just went out and had a nice dinner, had a couple glasses of wine, so forgot all about it. But we just, I mean, I, got to the track on Friday and kind of got everything ready and drove the car to the lanes, behind the tow vehicle, obviously, and was like, well, the thing steers straight, so I guess that's a good sign. So I just kind of did a slow progression of, when we fired the car up, sometimes it's just big thing is on the new chassis of just with everything kind of settling in is just your alignment. Sometimes, your steering wheel can be, cocked one way or the other. So you really kind of need to know before you hit the gas. So just when I did my burnout, I obviously, checked it to make sure where it was at and made the run and, just did everything like that. And, I mean, everything checked pretty good. We just had to make a couple little minor tweaks after the first run, but, man, everything really worked well.
So now you know you got a pretty good hot rod. At least it was at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Are you confident that all of that stuff you did is going to carry over to ZMAX here in Charlotte?
Well, I mean, I like our chances. We won in ZMAX earlier this year at the 4-wide event.
Would you go back to that setup then, or is it because it's hot around here, dude? 90s. I mean, does that change your mind?
We would probably, obviously look at the information that we had back then, but also, we've changed a lot of things since then. A lot of stuff in the clutch area, just, different discs and some other stuff as well. So, you kind of look at the information and you can kind of see where, kind of what power levels you had and kind of, know where you were at as far as, track temperature and the track characteristics of how hard you can run the car in certain areas of the racetrack. But so, obviously there's a lot of information we'll look from that event, but also a lot of information that we've also progressed on with throughout the season. So, feeling the guys way above my pay grade get to deal with all that stuff. I just get to have the fun part and hit the gas and hold on.
So you're 7th in points now, 80 markers down to Robert Height. And he's got his hands full right now with Force and Jack Beckman all right there. They say you got to have a win if you're going to be really competitive in this deal. You've got one now. How energized is this organization now as far as you winning this championship?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely excited. It's just a good time right now for the Coletta group. We've won the last 3 races and go to Reading and had an all Coletta top fuel final, and then go to St. Louis, had a all Coletta funny car final. But I mean, it just was pretty neat last weekend was, Billy Torrance and I both winning. Both of us were 10th place in the points. So I think it just shows the level of competition that's out there. There are no weak links in the top 10. Everybody that's in the top 10 deserves to be there. And everybody's got strong race cars, and everybody's got their own case at why they feel like they have a chance for the championship. So fortunately, we were able to get that win last weekend and kind of project us up a little bit in the standings. Obviously being 80 points behind Robert's a pretty tough task. Robert and Jimmy Proctor are they've set the bar in the funny car class for quite some time now. They're a very tough car, but I mean, like you said, with John being there and Beckman and Caps and TJ and Hagan and the reigning champ J.R. Todd and Wilkerson. I mean, it's just you look at the top 10. It's tough, man. There's no easy rounds. There's no easy draws. I mean, you're racing for the championship every single round you pull up to the starting line. So I'm just excited that our name's in the mix for the next 4 races, and that we have an opportunity. And that's all that I ask as a driver, is just have an opportunity to be able to have a chance. And it's pretty awesome to have our name in the mix to where we can race against these guys, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, all you want is a shot. Final question for you. Now you got your win. I know you want to win every time you get in the car. I get all that. But do you have to win now to make up those 80 points? Do you have to win another one? Or can you just be consistent from here on out, have good weekends, and let the rest of these guys, feast on themselves and knock each other out?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, it's just there's a bunch of ways to look at it. I mean, 80 points is if you can maintain the 80 points, we basically have 4 races left. 3 races are regular points, and then Pomona we have points and a half. So there's still enough time that it's still in your hands, in our hands, I guess, to where we kind of control a little bit of our own destiny. Obviously, yeah, winning's gonna help that, but it was a lot of the guys after Reading, sponsors and everybody was just kind of a little bit kicking rocks because we lost first round and we were 9th points, dropped back to 10th, and I just kind of looked at everybody and maybe with a little bit of a grin, but I looked at everybody and said, I don't know what you guys are worried about. We'll just go win the next 5 and we'll just go win the championship.
Love it.
So at least I didn't put my foot in the mouth for the first race, but
one down,
4 to go. I mean, it's tall task, but hey, you got to have a goal, set it, and try to shoot for the moon, and hopefully things work out.
Well, great. Well, listen, congratulations on the big win, the past rounds. We look forward to seeing you at Charlotte. Need any help, somebody to warm up the car for you? I'll be there. Happy to crawl in there and do what I can to help you guys. All right.
All right. Well, bring your earplugs.
All right, Shawn, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Shawn Langdon joining us with the big winner at Gateway. Now he's 7th in the points and on the trail. We'll be right back. Karen Stoffer on the line next.
Here's your chance to win a set of your very own Hercules tires. Go to HerculesTires.com/MRN. Simply register, and each month we'll give away one set of tires. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading mileage coverage to get you wherever you need to go, no matter where the road takes you. Register now for your chance to win a set of Hercules tires at HerculesTires.com/MRN. Hercules Tires. Ride on our street.
Prepare your vehicle for the weather ahead during Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts with great deals on batteries and accessories. Plus, top off with Peak Long Life Universal Premixed Antifreeze and Coolant for just $10.99 per gallon. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
NHRA drag racer Doug Herbert here to talk about safe driving. In early 2008, my 2 sons were killed in a car accident that was caused by speed and inexperience. After the accident, I learned that over 6,000 teenagers each year are killed in car accidents, so I formed a nonprofit organization called Brakes. Brakes stands for Be Responsible and Keep Everyone Safe. Please visit our website at putonthebrakes.org to learn more about responsible driving and what you can do to keep our roads safe.
Back with MRN's The Straight Line presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You know, we've been giving away tires, a free set every month here with MRN and our friends over at Hercules Tire. All you have to do is just go to their website to register, HerculesTire.com/MRN. It's that simple. Keep throwing them in there because we're giving away a set every month, so you never know. You might win a set here real soon. Karen Stoffer is going to need a new set of tires because, boy, she smoked them at Worldwide Technologies Raceway over in Gateway, just across the river from St. Louis. Congratulations, big winner, because that was really impressive, Karen.
Well, thanks. You know, usually when you say smoke them in reference to drag racing,
it's not good, right?
Thing, but
Yeah.
But yeah, in this case, having only one tire being on a pro stock motorcycle is probably a little different. So we don't smoke them. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, well, definitely meant it in all the positive ways. You smoked the competition, that is for sure. A first win, looking back on everything, first win since 2015, and the first time, I didn't realize this, the first time you'd actually beaten the Harley guys in the finals.
Yeah, actually, when I first came out, or my first win in the National Hot Rod Association Series back in 2004, I think it was, I had to line up against both Harleys at the time. And yet here we go again back in, how many years later now? 15 years later.
Yeah.
And we line up against them again. Again, there's an additional Harley now. There's 3 of them, and I didn't have to race all 3 of them, but I did have to race 2 of them, and they were pretty good races. So, in fact, the one against Andrew in the final, it was a pretty phenomenal race. So
Yeah, the numbers certainly say so. What made the difference then? Because you got him all the way down the run.
Yeah, you know, I think being on a Suzuki, we don't have the type of horsepower top-end back half that those V-twins have. So historically, we've always just tried to get out of the gate and get out of the hole quicker to try and get some momentum in front of them so that when they do start running us down, we're way ahead of them. And, that's how we plan it. And it doesn't often happen that way, but it certainly did last weekend in St. Louis. We were able to get the light. We were able to, I believe, get the 60-foot and all the incrementals. I actually didn't see Andrew the entire quarter mile. I heard him. I knew he was right next to me, but I couldn't see him coming around me at the top end, which is the biggest fear. I'm always tucking real tight, hugging the bike, and kind of peeking, kind of looking out my eye to the other side to see if he comes around me, and he didn't. We were able to hold him off, so that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, trying to get down inside the paint, right? So
that's it.
You didn't see him. Is it because you were that focused, or just because of the riding position you usually use?
I didn't see him, which to me, in rider's term, that just means he didn't get his wheel in front of me and pass in front of me. That means he stayed behind me the whole way, and my bike was in front the whole way down the track. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't the fact that you couldn't really he just hadn't gotten by you. I understand what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if the way you were riding it, maybe you were that focused because of the finals and everything, and maybe even if he was right alongside, you might not have seen him anyway.
Well, that too. You're in the paint, your head's buried, you're just focusing on that finish line down there. But no, it was a comment just saying that we were able to hold him off from the beginning and maintain staying in front of him the whole way down, which was pretty cool.
Well, now you're going to need to do that a few more times because that big victory puts you just 34 points down in second place to Andrew Hines in this championship. You're right here in the thick of this thing. What do you do now? Because you don't want to see anybody ever from this point forward.
Yeah, right. You just, I keep doing what I want to do for the team. The team had some plans and said, you just ride the bike and we'll put the bike up for you. And if we can stay focused on that and we can just, Tim's, learning how to tune to my size and my riding style, and he's doing a really good job. And he said he would have it all mostly figured out by the time we got to the countdown, and it seems to be working that way. So as long as I stay focused and do my job and ride the bike and be consistent and give him a good consistent thing to tune from, then I think that we have a pretty good shot. I don't really look at the points, I just look at riding. I figure if I'm racing good and Tim's tuning good and that bike's running, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I think right now we have a pretty good package set up.
Okay, so we won't bring those numbers up anymore then. But, you bring up an interesting thing that's way different than any of the other big categories, right, as far as not just rider style, because obviously every driver as well has different styles of how they approach things, how they want to stage, so forth and so on. But you did mention body size and type, and that can make a massive difference in the form of racing that you're in because of the airflow and aerodynamics and all of that. So what do they have to do differently for you than anybody else in the category? What's the challenge to tuning for you?
So, interestingly enough, when I came over to the war team this year, his riders were 25 to 30 pounds heavier than I am right now. So in all of our packages rolling down the racetrack, so the vehicle and the rider have to weigh the same. So basically what they had to do is they had to put extra weight on my bike, and they had to put it in strategic locations to make sure that the tune-ups that he has would still make the bike work the same way. In addition to that, with the weight, I leave the riders he's had before leave the starting line sitting up and lunge forward and ram themselves down to the tank. I have a different style where I leave completely tucked from the starting line, and that's a different way to tune a motorcycle because the bike has got a different weight ratio, more up higher than down lower when you're ramming forward. And the other thing that's really challenging and different for Tim and the war team is the fact that I lead with my feet on the ground, where other riders, and again, this varies across the entire class, but other riders lead with their feet partially on the pegs. So with all those kind of differences, that makes tuning the motorcycle completely different. The clutch reacts different. The wheelie bar, the way the bike lifts and moves with the weight. So with all those different things, can't tell you exactly what Tim does to navigate all of that, but definitely it's been a challenge because the window, it seems, for the tires spinning and getting out of control or hooking and leaving seems to be smaller than he's used to. So that's about all I can tell you about
Yeah,
how
that's
he does it, but it's definitely a lot different.
Yeah, those are some really interesting points. One thing I can guarantee you for sure, if he was tuning for me, he would not be adding weight at all. That would be that would be an area he wouldn't have to worry about for sure. How did you develop that riding style? Was it something you've always done, or was that something you were coached into?
I bracket raced at the sportsman level for years before I went professional, and that was partially how I raced them. But then going into the professional ranks, that was the style of riding at the time. The ramming and the leaving sitting up and ramming forward hadn't been developed yet. And as far as the feet on the pegs or the feet on the ground, it's just a preference. I've done both, and it's just a preference or a style. And I also would let Tim know if I ever needed to change, you just let me know what you need to do. But his motto is, you just do your thing, be consistent, do the same thing every time, and I'll tune to you. So that's what he's doing.
That's got to give you a lot of confidence that you can really feel that setup coming around now as you've gotten into the countdown, and this championship is there and very much winnable at this point. we were talking earlier with Shawn Langdon in the funny car category. He gets his win as well this past weekend. One of the things I mentioned to him is that they say in the countdown, you don't have to win all the time, but you've got to win at least one, and you've done that now. Obviously, you want to win every time you get across the bike and you're ready to go. Do you feel like you need to keep winning, or is this something where at this point now you can work on consistency and let that be the key to maybe winning the title?
It's interesting because the way they do the countdown now, we got 4 races left, and one of them is a point and a half. So, and the points are so close within the top 7 or so that if you either go out first round or win a race, it makes an entire difference throughout everybody. So I think the key and the focus is just to do my job and have Timmy do his job and win rounds. And I don't know if we put a win up in the column or not. Obviously that would be nice, but we definitely have to go rounds. And I think that's the focus, is just keep racing and keep going around. You have losing first round. And I think Shawn did that, if I remember correctly. I think he did that in Reading, and then he was able to come back early on and, the second race in and win a race. So that helped tremendously. But I don't think you can do that as you get closer and closer to Pomona. You're not going to be able to have that recovery time, and if everybody else is consistently good, that are consistently up in the late rounds, then that, the swing from losing first round it's going to be detrimental. So I think it's just winning rounds and not going out first round. Make sure and you're staying focused on going rounds as many as you can.
Well, it sure sounds like you have the tune-up for it now as you work your way through the countdown. Best of luck to you. We won't bring up the numbers of the points again, and we will just wish you all the best smoking the competition and not the tires as you work your way towards the end of the year.
I appreciate that, and it was nice talking to you, Ralph.
All right, we'll see you soon. Karen Stoffer joining us, the winner at Worldwide Technologies Raceway over in Gateway. We'll be back right now in a few minutes with more MR in the Straight Line.
O'Reilly. This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street, and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi folks, Mike Bagley here. At MRN, we rely on equipment from Racing Electronics.
Joey Logano to the lead on the back straightaway.
Racing Electronics has scanners and headphones. We can listen to every uncensored conversation between driver and crew.
You won the championship, baby, yeah!
And when we need live audio, in-car cameras, and up-to-the-second statistics, we use their latest handheld unit called Legend. To learn more about these products and many others, visit racingelectronics.com. Racing Electronics, the official two-way communication partner of MRN.
Transformation, a thorough or dramatic change in appearance. Sure, that's the textbook definition, but it really means we're getting you in the locker room on game day with the new Talladega Garage experience. Come see it for yourself this October.
Welcome back to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ralph Shaheen with you. We talked at the beginning of the show about having some big news for you today. We're going to get to that in just a second. That's going to be in our red light, green light segment. First off, we want to talk about tickets because I know there's a lot of interest in the big race coming up at Charlotte, the NTK NHRA Carolina Nationals over here in Concord, North Carolina, October 11th through the 13th, as we tell you each and every week. Just go to NHRA.com. Click on the red ticket tab in the top right corner. You can get your tickets for that, or, of course, AAA Texas NHRA Fall Nationals out in Enos, Texas, coming up the week after that. And then we're off to Las Vegas and the big Dodge NHRA Nationals presented by Pennzoil right around Halloween. That is going to be a huge event as we get closer to the finals out in Pomona. So again, go to that NHRA.com, click on the red ticket tab in the top right corner, and we hope to see you at the races. I know for sure Doug and I will both be out walking around the pit area and up in the grandstands during the NTK NHRA Carolina Nationals here in Concord. So we hope to see you out there for that. Okay, let's begin with some of the news we were talking about in our red light, green light segment. The first one is a red light, but not necessarily in a negative way. It's just a red light in the fact that something's coming to an end. our good friend, Dallas Gardner, has been a part of the NHRA for so many years. Dallas is finally stepping down. Dallas has been the NHRA's chairman of the board for many, many years. He has been 46 years of dedication to the sport of NHRA drag racing. I've known Dallas for a very long time. I know when I began my broadcasting career as a play-by-play voice of the NHRA back in the TNN days, Dallas, of course, was a huge part of the NHRA then. We got to know each other very well during that period. And he is finally stepping down, effective immediately. He's going to stay on as a consultant to the NHRA because after a 46-year career of dedication to a sport like that, the passion is too great to just walk away completely. So he will always be just a phone call away for the NHRA and all the great knowledge and expertise that he had working right alongside, literally hip to hip with Wally Parks for so many years and forming what the NHRA, the great sport of drag racing that it has become. So many of the things that have made drag racing with the NHRA so successful, of course, coming from Dallas Gardner and being thought of and put into motion and executed through his work. So Peter Clifford, the current CEO, will, of course, immediately step up and take over Dallas's duties and will move up the food chain a little bit further. So best of luck to Peter as well as he takes on more with his role at the NHRA. So again, not a negative red light this week, but a positive as we congratulate Dallas Gardner on an amazing career with the NHRA and wish him nothing but the best as he moves forward with his life and on to new challenges. And we wish him all the best and still look forward to seeing you around the racetrack every now and then, Dallas. The other one, our green light, we're going to kind of end this one on a little bit of a positive note. Corey McLenithan never won the championship in Top Fuel drag racing. 3 times he finished second. The closest one, he was literally 1 round shy to Joe Amato one year and finished as a bridesmaid again. And he had actually missed a whole event that year. So if he had just done that one racing weekend, Corey might have been a champ. Of course, however, he's got 34 Top Fuel career victories, and 2 times he won the U.S. Nationals. He even won the Funny Car Top Fuel Showdown once and was the first winner here in Charlotte at ZMAX, the first ever 4-wide that they ran here. Well, I believe that was 2010, April of that year. So Corey Mack has had a great career in Top Fuel racing. He's among the top 10 winners of all time in the Top Fuel category with those 34 victories. Corey announcing this week he is going to run the last 3 events of the 2019 schedule in Top Fuel, and that'll be it. He will officially hang up his helmet, suit, and gloves and be done with it all. And he's been doing some off-road racing, some part-time Top Fuel competition with the NHRA and all that, but this is going to be it. That'll be it. No more Top Fuel racing after that. So Corey Mack, we look forward to seeing you one more time, just firing down the drag strip, having a good run, and who knows what it might lead to, maybe another trip to Victory Lane and another Wally as he wraps up his career. Should be an emotional day at Pomona as it all comes to an end later this season. So all the best to Corey Mack, too. We look forward to seeing that. That's another reason. Go to the NHRA.com website, buy those tickets, and be there in Pomona for sure to see Corey Mack wrap up his racing career. Well, that's it. We're going to wrap up our week here on MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Thanks for joining us, Ralph Shaheen, and my missing partner here this week, Doug Herbert. Thank you, as always, for joining us on the show. We look forward to seeing you again as we get closer to the drags in Charlotte. We hope to see you out there for that one.